Good morning! So, today is Wednesday. Sadly, there will not be a multiplayer stream tonight, but today's video is all about how to keep going on YouTube. And actually, this is a video that I've been really excited to make, or now it's a stream I'm excited to do. Originally, it was a scripted video, and then I decided I was going to go ahead and use it for one of these live streams, which is weird because I actually have the whole thing scripted out here over to my right, which is normally what I would use to make a pre-produced video. But today, what I'm going to do instead is just talk through some of the points that I'd written out. And that's because you often hear people say, like, oh, YouTube is a marathon, not a sprint. You hear, like, Sean Cannell say this. You will hear, like, Nick Nimmin say this. You'll hear a ton of people make that analogy because it's really quite accurate, right? But it's not just accurate in regards to, like, yes, marathons are super long compared to sprints, but also because it is sort of an endurance trial if you're looking to be successful on YouTube. Now, in terms of what success means to you on YouTube, that's, I could do an entire video just about that because there are a lot of different views on it. But essentially what I'm referring to today when I talk about YouTube being a marathon and how you can actually continue on YouTube, what I'm referring to is, I guess you could say it's similar to burnout, or basically just hitting that wall, right? You'll hear like marathon runners and people who do long distance running talk about hitting a wall where they're just too tired to continue. Vance, what's up, man? Thank you for showing up. Look, only one watching. This is part of the marathon. Yes, exactly, right? Like me going live and only having like one or two viewers, like that doesn't dissuade me because I know it is a marathon, right? Plus, when you do a live stream, there's a good chance people are going to check that video out later. Oh yeah, we're doing this again every day for the next 90, well, every weekday, Jake, and for the next 90 days, we'll be doing this. So, back to what I was saying, when it comes to, it being a marathon, you'll talk about people hitting a wall, right, where it's just like they're too tired to continue, and no matter how excited you are about YouTube, like, you might get up in the mornings, or you might initially start your channel and just get this complete rush by the fact that people are actually listening to what you have to say, by the fact that you see your view count increasing, you see your subscriber count increasing. Dad, what's up? Thank you for joining. And, whenever you think of it that way, like, most things in life you get really excited about right off the bat, right? But trying to maintain that same fire that you have for something when you first start isn't quite as easy once you get 2, 3, 6 months into it, 6 years into it. And that's the thing, I'm coming from a very weird position myself because I've been on YouTube for like a decade, but I didn't become a YouTuber until the past 18 months, 2 years, I would say. So one of the things I was thinking about was, what are the things that help me continue making content? Because there are definitely days where, as much as I love being on YouTube and as much as I love video games and making content about video games, it's not always easy to keep going, right? It's like sometimes you're sick, sometimes you just wake up tired and you're just like, or you get a creative block, you're like, how can I keep going? So what I wanted to do today was just talk about some of the points that I think are helpful for making sure you can keep going. Motivation is like a shower, you need it every day, right? Like, and I've heard people say too, don't worry about motivation, cultivate discipline, because motivation isn't the thing that makes you take action, it's the action that produces motivation. Kind of a bonus tip there, I guess. But the first thing that I would say is to get your mind right, and that's something that I actually have scripted out here, and there's like 5 paragraphs, so I'm just going to see if I can go off the cuff and explain what I meant by that. One of the first things that you can do if you feel like you're frazzled by just like the demands of producing content on a regular basis on YouTube, or just what it takes to creatively come up with new things that you want to put out, is to make a full stop. Whether you're pre-producing content, whether you're live streaming on a regular, whatever you're doing, if you've got a ton of stuff going on, stop everything immediately. And realize that by stopping everything immediately, that's not like some damnable offense, right? That doesn't mean just because you stop that you're stopping forever. You're just trying to give yourself a little bit of mental margin. Because one of the things that you can do that is the most important, I would say, is before you can start tackling the things that are, kind of crippling your motivation or making you question your ability to continue on YouTube. John, what's up, man? How you doing? Yes, you are supposed to shower every day. But one of the things that you can do on YouTube to make sure, or one of the first things you can do, to, kind of get in the right headspace, is to just stop everything. Give yourself some mental breathing space. For me, that means making things like a matter of prayer or meditation. If you're not the religious type, you don't have to do those things. It might just mean taking some quiet time for yourself. Because once you sort of establish some mental margin, it becomes way easier to kind of do the next thing, and that is to start identifying your pain points. Like, are you struggling with coming up with new ideas? Are you struggling with, where you fit within the YouTube community and what niche you're actually trying to speak to? There could be a million different things that are on your mind that, I can't even come up with an example for right now. But it's a lot easier to identify those things once you kind of take a few minutes out for yourself and just chill out a little bit, right? Give yourself the ability to relax and start working through those things and figuring out, what's causing you issues. Like, have a clear head. And, when you approach those things, do it without harsh judgment, right? Like, if you come up with, oh man, like, I need to do daily live streams, but I missed one on Tuesday, you don't need to beat yourself up about it. Because the only real way to fail in that regard is to just stop everything and just not even try, right? Stumbling, making a misstep, that's just part of the process for success in literally any arena of life, including and especially YouTube. Vince says, boy, you sure are sounding less like a gamer and more like Sean Cannell. The only thing you're missing is the white text reinforcing your tips. I'll take that as a compliment. I do like Sean, but, that's why I'm going to try to balance this content and also do gaming stuff in the evenings. Just not doing it this week because I'm on call. Like, the other day I did a quick one, but it was like 5 p.m., where I talked about the games I was most excited for August. But you're right. It is a little bit more, rah-rah cheerleadery, but I'm okay with that. Because I think, people need it. Tip number 3 that I would say is to get some perspective. Like, sometimes you will hold yourself rigidly accountable to a process or, a workflow for creating videos that is borderline unsustainable. Like, sometimes we can put so much pressure on ourselves to continue to create, to continue to produce, that it becomes super unhealthy. Like, there's a reason you see so many videos that go out there that talk about burnout, because it's a real thing, and it's a real thing that can happen, again, probably in any arena of life, but it seems to get more focus on YouTube, where people can create videos about it and kind of document their experience, their process about the things that sort of, are putting a hurting on them, like emotionally or mentally, while they try to keep their head in the game. But in terms of getting some perspective, let me see what I had down here, because I'm forgetting the points that I wanted to make. Okay, I did have a quick story about this. So one of the things that discouraged me recently, this was probably about a month or two ago, is I was looking at my analytics, and one of the things that I noticed was that it was either my views or my view duration had taken a bit of a dive compared to last month. Like, everything, actually I think it was everything across the board was just down a little bit from the previous month. And I got kind of bummed out about it, right? Because I was like, oh, this sucks. Like, I've been, trying to hustle on here and make great content. Like, why are the numbers going down and not up? And then I took a second to sort of reframe the question entirely, right? And what I mean by that is, I was like, why am I only looking at what happened the previous month? And I was like, what happens if I jump back 12 months? And then I looked at my analytics from a year ago. And what I realized was that, the thing that I was sweating, like, oh man, I can't believe I took a dip from last month, is that the dip that I was looking at, that I was like, oh, this kind of sucks, was actually double or 2.5 times all of the metrics that I had from a year ago. So again, looking at YouTube from the perspective of a marathon, not a sprint, even though it's a horrible cliche and you hear it all the time, really does help tremendously. If you're somebody who's just like kind of dissatisfied with your performance, you're like, oh man, like I was crushing it, now I'm not crushing it anymore. You might just be looking at the wrong time frame. So in that regard, it's definitely important to keep some perspective when you look at YouTube analytics and start measuring your success against, all of these other people. And that's actually the fourth point that I want to talk about, was to step away from comparison. And that's not always an easy thing. Mayor, what's up, man? How you doing? Doing pretty well. Rip me, hello. Thank you for coming out this morning. Fabian, hello. The Josh alarm. Hey, yeah, maybe that's what this will end up being. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this 90-day live streaming experiment, Fabian, but it's very possible that this 8 a.m. sort of stream will continue, just because I'm having a lot of fun doing it. Until it becomes a drag, then maybe I would switch up format. But back to what I was saying, point 4 is to step away from comparison. And that's rough, because that's human nature, right? Like, we are just hardwired for comparison in almost every arena of life. Like, if you look at somebody else and it's like, oh, they've got 100,000 subscribers, how come I don't have 100,000 subscribers? It's easy to completely diminish all the progress you've made, because you're looking at a goalpost that's just like far beyond where you're at right now, or the arena in which you're playing. So if you, constantly are comparing yourself, like, how come I don't have that many views? How come I don't have that many comments? How come I'm not balling out of control with all this ad money? Try not to do that, because maybe the best comparison you can make is simply with who you were yesterday as a creator. Measuring yourself against other people usually is not good advice in any arena of life, right? If the only thing you're ever doing is looking at what you don't have instead of being grateful for the things you do have, and in YouTube that means being grateful for the fact that, hey, you may not have 1 million subscribers yet, but if you've got 100 subscribers who absolutely love everything that you do and they're willing to come out and support you every single time, that's powerful stuff, and that's something that you can build on. So, the only way to really screw up is to stop moving or to give up entirely. Even if you're only taking like little baby steps every day, that's the most important thing you can do. You don't have to look at the monumental leaps you see another creator taking. As long as you can look at yourself and say, hey, I made forward progress today, trust me, that's enough. And then finally, the last thing I'll say, which is fantastic because you guys are illustrating this point perfectly just by being here, and that is to lean on encouraging people that you trust. Just Fabian, Discard, what's up, man? Step 8 has played lots of Fire Emblem. Yeah, that's going to be like the director's cut. I'm going to do that one later. But leaning on encouraging people you trust it's something that I think a lot of us don't like to do. And I will admit, for me, this is horrible hypocrisy. I'm absolutely horrible at, having a problem, or like if I hit like a creative block or something, I've never really been good at reaching out to someone and being like, hey man, I'm struggling, like I'm having trouble with this, like can I talk to you or whatever. If you're having a problem, just with anything, it's usually better to talk to somebody about that and get those feelings out rather than, to kind of keep everything buried deep down inside. I used to make a joke like, if you're having emotional problems, you're supposed to bury them deep down inside like doctors recommend. It's a horrible joke. No doctor recommends that. I'm just being an idiot. But what I will say is that one of the things that has helped me the most in this YouTube journey is just talking to other creators. And I have to say, like, going out to E3, which, and again, you don't have to, travel out to some big convention to do this. If you just cultivate relationships with other people who you admire, who you respect, who make great stuff, who basically become friends, not just like, co-creators or something, I guess, those people are going to understand your struggles and the problems that you're dealing with more than anybody else. Like, you may have people in your life who have no idea or they have no understanding of what you're trying to accomplish on YouTube or why it's so important to you. And I'm not saying that they can't be helpful. A lot of them, like friends, family, they may, even though they don't fully understand what you're doing, still be able to offer an encouraging word. But man, find another YouTuber. Like, find somebody else who is trying to do the same thing that you're doing, or somebody who's already doing the same thing that you're doing, and just talk to them about some of the struggles you're having. Maybe you're having trouble coming up with ideas. Maybe you're, just struggling with thumbnails, or maybe you're just like, man, I've done this, for 3 straight months and I feel like I'm not getting any results. I mean, sometimes getting that outside, and it's not just the encouragement, sometimes getting another perspective, people will see things that you are not even considering when you're working on your channel. So that would be my 5th tip, is to just lean on people that you know, people you trust, people who are going to want nothing but good things for you, because they're out there, and because it's the internet, it's easy to filter out the people that aren't. So if you have toxic people in your life, just drop them like a bad habit, man. Totally worth it. So those are my 5 tips. That took about 10 minutes. This is actually really good practice for the Southeast Game Exchange, because I'm going to have to talk for 20 minutes, and I had 10 tips for that. So if I got through 5 in about 10 minutes, I feel like I'm about on pace. So anyways, let me catch up with the chat now. Thank you guys so much for coming out this morning to check this out, and I hope, I was able to put something out there that was helpful. Jarud, hello. How are you doing this morning? Vance says, yeah, those have been wonderful. My parents are old school Hispanic and have no understanding of what I do. They know I do some kind of game recordings. Right, but I'm sure they show you nothing but love and support. Is that a true statement, Fabian? Discard says, in general, surrounding yourself by motivated people is motivating. Yes! Don't surround yourself with losers. Surround yourself with amazing people who have drive and ambition, and not just drive and ambition, but are willing to act on those things. If you do that, it's going to make your life so much easier when you know that's the headspace you want to be in, and those are the results that you want to go after. Here's me still struggling with starting my channel, but I think it comes down to my recording area being too loud. Thanks, flatmates. Well, I mean, is there any time when your flatmates aren't around? Like, even if you could, I mean, like right now, I don't think you were here for the other day, Jaru, but what I was saying was, like, this experiment, one of the things I loved about it was it sort of let me stop overthinking and overproducing in my head, and actually in real life. Like, this whole scripted thing, it's like 2,000 words over here, right? I don't need 2,000 words in a pre-produced video to put these kind of tips out there, but what I'm saying is, if you can steal 20 minutes and jump in front of a camera or do a live stream, or just go to a park or something, right? Like, the Magic Historian, a friend of mine that threw Carlsberg Review, is actually her husband. Like, he was just walking around town, talking into his phone, engaging with people, and it was tremendous. We've talked, but you ignore my advice, probably the best, LOL. Are you... Jake, and you've given me some good advice. I wouldn't say I ignore everything. In fact, you advised me to do some list stuff, and I have some list stuff in the works, specifically because of the advice you gave me. Hey man, loving this content so much, super helpful. I'm so glad to hear that, Jaru. I really am. I was very skeptical about doing this format, then I was like, you know what, you're overthinking it, just do it, see how people respond. If it sucks or people hate it, you don't have to keep doing it. And I think in that regard, experimentation is important. Josh, did you have a chance to check out that 6 Rules of Success vid yet? I did not watch it yet, but I will watch it today, and I will respond with my thoughts, probably in tomorrow's stream, but then also personally in a DM back to you. When they saw me paying my bills, they did? Oh, I bet they did. It's one thing for people to be like, oh, yeah, that YouTube thing you do is really cute and adorable, but then when you're just like, hey, I'm making bank on YouTube, then people start to take it a little bit more seriously. And it's funny, on a side and kind of related but sort of unrelated note, there's an amazing documentary, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's a Stan Lee one, and it's actually on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing for free. It's about an hour and a half, and it's like one of the videos you could buy, but they're like, hey, you can watch it free as long as you don't mind suffering through ads. But what's funny is listening to Stan talk about, whenever he was, writing comic books and stuff like that, when he lived in an apartment in New York with his wife Joan, I believe, he talked about how it was sort of intimidating for him, or how it was kind of weird because all the people he was surrounded by in that, where he lived, were people like doctors and lawyers and professors or stockbrokers or bankers, these very respected professions. And for him, he would always feel very embarrassed about the fact that he wrote comic books, because people would be like, what do you do? And he'd be like, oh, I'm a writer, and then just sort of like go on his way. So I think that's kind of funny that, like, even back then, creative pursuits were sort of frowned upon, and maybe YouTube is a more modern day version of that. I watch a lot of people with different perspectives because their energy makes me feel so positive, right? And that's the other thing. Like, sometimes other people's perspectives are super uncomfortable. Like, someone will give you a different perspective, and you're hoping, like, oh, wow, I'm going to grow as a person by hearing this. And then they tell you something you don't want to hear, and it can be sort of uncomfortable in the moment, but then ultimately, sometimes that is the best advice you ever get. So, yeah, it can make you feel good, but it can also make you feel kind of crappy for a second before ultimately leading to a growth point, I think. Amir says, 100% agree. As someone who has a struggle with motivation, when you're surrounded with good people who support your pursuit, and content for me is the best way to keep YouTube being fun. Right, and I think that was my favorite part of going to E3. It was my favorite part of going to the Southeast Game Exchange. It's going to be my favorite part of going to the Southeast Game Exchange this year, is I know that there are at least a dozen or half a dozen creators that I've watched their content. I've enjoyed what they do over the past couple of years, and just that camaraderie. It's just something that when you're with people that are sort of into the same things that you are, there is like a certain, I guess camaraderie really is the best word, that's there just because you guys all have an understanding of, like, yeah, you're making YouTube videos, and people who don't really understand that process are like, oh, that's kind of cool, and they sort of go on their way. But those people know the struggle of making YouTube videos, right? They know what it's like to agonize in your head creatively to come up with something that you think is going to work. They know how hard it is to be diligent enough to, like, write things out, to film, to edit, upload, optimize, and then somehow among all of that stay social with all of your fellow creators, and then all of the other meta activities that go along with that, depending on how you define success for your channel. Also, that YouTuber's live PS4 game has a trophy for getting your first hater. Oh, that's so great. Yes, and I would agree with that. Like I used to be like, oh man, what if I get someone who hates my content? Now I just don't care, because I know that YouTube, at the platform itself, values their engagement. Like, I think one of my videos the other day got a thumbs down, and at one point I might have gotten bent out of shape about it, but now I'm like, they cared enough to at least hate on it, and as far as YouTube's concerned, that's only going to pump me up in the search engine ranking, so that's fine. Rex the Great says, it is early. It is super early, Rex. But again, this is that live stream experiment we were talking about the other night. And actually, I would like to talk to you more offline at some point about this. Well, actually, a few of you in here, because one of the things that I wanted to do is sort of take a page out of Avedon's playbook, because he does the Chillcast every Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern every Friday right now. Amazing dude, always brings together a bunch of cool creators, including Rax here in the chat. And one of the things that I wanted to do was start talking with some of you on a stream like this, if you would be open to the idea. So, Fabian, Discard, like, if any of you guys are up for that, I would be very curious to bring you on, basically to get more of your perspective, and truthfully, just to get to know you a little bit better in the live format, if you find it comfortable. I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot. If you're like, that's not for me, no hard feelings whatsoever, I totally get that. Content creators are slowly being taken more seriously. I mean, celebrities want to be YouTubers now. Right. And that's one of the things, like, I hear a lot of people get upset. They're like, oh, how come Will Smith or Jablinski get to, just bomb up here on YouTube and be super successful? But, like, those dudes aren't super successful just magically because they're on YouTube. They're successful because they put in, like, 20 or 30 years of work. And naturally, the crowd that follows them from their platform to this one, that, of course, that's going to happen. So while you're, like, struggling, like trudging along, like, oh, I just want my 100,000 subscribers so I can get that play button, and these guys do it in about an hour, I can see how that would be debilitating, but at the same time, they've earned that right. And again, that's one of the most common things that I hear about that, or complaints, and I don't understand, is they're like, I can't believe they would take all of their followers because they're in big movies and then bring them over here to YouTube. That's not fair. But don't we all, again, do the same thing? Once you hit certain levels of success, what starts happening once you get, like, a big enough following on YouTube? Like, hey, don't forget to buy my t-shirt. Speaking of which, don't forget to check out my t-shirts. I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat right now that I think about it. But, like, we do that all the time as creators, right? It's like, oh, don't forget to check out my Instagram. Go check me out on Twitter. So getting mad at them for that is, just hypocritical at best and naive at worst, I think. Rex says, you sure you want me to ramble? Yes, I do want you to ramble. As in terms of the ramblers that I know, you're one of the best, and I don't say that as a negative. I mean it as a positive, because it's not easy to get in front of a camera or in front of a group of people or talk with people and kind of stay agile on your toes, be able to talk, not just talk, but do so in an intelligent, cohesive way. That's, I think, one of the things I like most about you, Rex. Then you always seem to have the best hoodies. Side note. Always down for stuff, man. That is excellent to hear, Skylar. I would absolutely adore that. And selfishly, I will say, I kind of want to do it just so I can pick your brain about ways to display stuff better, because, I'm not exactly crushing it the way you are in that regard. Shaboinky Boink, welcome back. My favorite YouTuber this week, only on name. How are you doing? Did Janelle Elena earn that 1.6 million subs in less than a month? I have no idea. I don't even know who that is. It's possible. I wouldn't doubt it. It's okay, Remy, your mom is still subscribed, but that's what counts. Hey, my dad's in here subscribed. I appreciate his viewership, even though I feel like it's kind of cheating almost. But if you have people who care about what you do enough to support it, even when they don't fully understand what it is that you do, that is a rare thing, and you should be grateful for it. I haven't followed any celebrities on YouTube yet. Use Twitter for that. Yeah, there's not a lot of celebrities I follow. I do subscribe to Will Smith on YouTube because hearing him tell stories is really interesting. Like knowing some of the backstory behind like him and DJ Jazzy Jeff coming together, or the period of his life before he became the Fresh Prince, and some of the struggle he was having even when he had a hit record. That's a fun story to listen to him tell. Like it's definitely inspiring stuff. But Will Smith usually does inspiring stuff, so that's not overly surprising. Fabian, I'm super glad that you are down as well. That would be wonderful. The bigger the user base, the larger the number of haters. Build a thick skin early. That's good advice, Vance. Like, and that's not something that comes naturally to people, right? And I think you build thicker skin by just forcing yourself to be in a position of, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me. Exposed? Is that right? Vulnerable, to put yourself in a vulnerable position over and over and over again. Like the live format is inherently extremely vulnerable. Any troll or hater could bomb in here right now, and I have no choice but to read what they say, and then I have to make a mental decision to either block or ban that person. Well, I've got some mods in here right now. I mean, for all I know, Jake and or Rax would be kind enough to handle that situation, so I could kind of stay on my game here. But you're right. I think that consistently putting yourself into a position to develop thicker skin is a great way to do that, right? It's like the rejection challenge. Like, I'm trying to remember who did that. I can't remember who initially proposed the idea or where I first read about it. But the rejection challenge is essentially like if you're somebody who struggles like interacting with people, if you're somebody who is constantly like afraid of what might happen or those, what ifs or could this happen, or you're worried about just people saying no, build up those rejection muscles, right? Like go to a restaurant and then when you're done with your food, just ask the waiter, be like, can I have dessert for free? And if they say no, how much harm did it really do? You don't even have to go to that restaurant again. If it's a chain restaurant, there's probably like 5 more in your city that you could go to if you don't want to see that person again or if that was terrifying. But hey, you might get a free dessert out of it. And if so, those are the kind of exercises that basically that challenge wanted to push you through to help develop your ability to be comfortable with rejection, because it's universal, right? I agree, thick skin is important. If you have thin skin, YouTube will eat you alive. Yeah, and the highest concentration I had of that, and it was that PlayStation Class video. But I've never had a video with that kind of traffic. Certainly never a video with that sort of engagement. And I had all kinds of hateful comments pop out of that. People were just like, "Your hair looks stupid," or your teeth look weird, and things like that. But that's something that you just have to get over. And actually, on a more personal note, for me, and I've said this before on videos, it's weird, like if you put me in person in front of a room full of people or like at a party, something like that where I don't know anybody, I'll tend to come out of it with a few friends. I usually don't have problems with anxiety in person, but for whatever reason, I turtled up hard online, man. Like prior to the past couple of years, I was just like, I can lurk in places like Reddit, I can lurk on forums or Twitter or Facebook or whatever, but I don't really say much because I'm like, people are gonna be like, that dude's an idiot. But at a certain point, you realize you have to push past that fear because you can't be on this platform and not be social. It's just like you have to do it. Let's see. What am I missing here? Now, the best thing about these live chats is finding new people to watch, because if you're participating in a live chat, you're probably very active in the community. I would agree with that. I know just about everyone in here except for some new people like Shaboinky Boink. Who I just love the name. It's so good. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up on chat real quick. She's a new YouTuber who makes van life videos, has three videos and over 1.6 million followers in about a month. That van life trend, man, a lot of people seem to be getting into that, and I know there's at least one YouTuber, and I can't remember his name, but all he does is make fun of people who live van life, and I think it's where normally I don't endorse negative content, but this dude is just so objectively hilarious because he actually does live van life, but he has a very cynical view of it. He's like, these people get on Instagram, they talk about how wonderful van life is. He's like, but you're pooping in a bag. And I'm like, it's really funny to listen to his perspective on it, and it's even funnier because some of these van life people who have they glamorize this, like, oh, we bought a conversion van and look at our glamorous life, just living out of it and living on the open road. Some of them will actually respond to his videos, and it's funny because it looks like he's formed like these low-key friendships with some of the people that he criticizes. So it's a very weird channel for me to take in and get behind, but it is funny. one dislike yesterday, and it bothers me for sure. Like 80 likes, but the dislike thing is what I dwell on. It's like, yes, and I feel like that's just like real life, right? You can have like a million great things happen to you in a day, but like one, like you get a flat tire, or you find out like your neighbor did something you don't like. I don't know, but just that one tiny thing can wreck your whole day. Like it's definitely a discipline to maintain perspective in those moments. Pretty sure I have a serial disliker blessing on my channel. I'm sure I've got one or two. I've had people dislike my video like 30 seconds after I put it up. I'm like, there's no way you had enough time to watch that video and come to the logical conclusion, like, you know what, I've absorbed your content, I've given it a lot of rational thought, and I just didn't like it. I'm going to thumbs down this. No, that's somebody who just doesn't like me as a person or something, just bombing in there, or just being trolly. One of my friends recently started a channel and it ruins his first week one of my friends recently started a channel and it ruins his week when he gets a negative comment or a dislike. See, and that's sort of the headspace I used to be in. Like, I used to be like, oh man, do I question my self-worth now as a creator? Should I not be here because somebody didn't like what I say? But no, I'm not going to completely ignore, like, 80 or 90 other people who show up and dig my video. But it's again, I think that's just human nature, right? We focus on the negative and completely ignore this deluge of positive things that might otherwise exist. Shah, I heard a ton of people had gotten subscribed to her, and that never did. Some people were angry about it. Wait, there are countless people saying they were subbed to her and they never even heard of her. I don't doubt that, right? It's kind of like her mentality. Sometimes you see everybody flock someplace, like it's your inclination to be like, hey, something cool must be happening. Let's go check it out. What on earth is van life? Just living in it? Yes, van life is this trend of people basically being like, you know what, I'm going to eschew conventional living. I'm not going to have an apartment. I'm not going to have a house. I'm going to buy a van and I'm going to outfit it with like a small stove and like a fresh water tank, and then I'm just going to live in this van. I'm just going to like drive the earth. And I think it sounds really romantic and amazing, just when you look at it from the surface level. But when you get on the low, like just the nitty gritty of it, or the logistics of what that life actually looks like, it's not going to be quite as glamorous as a lot of people are making it out to be in those Instagram accounts. I'm not saying that it's not fun. I'm not saying it's not liberating, and good for you if you're a free spirit and you love that. But for somebody who's watching an influence, they're like, oh my goodness, this must be amazing. I should sell everything I have and go live in a van. Look at the finer points before you make a move like that. Maybe do some additional research from people who will give you a more balanced perspective of what it's like to completely upend your life and decide to live as essentially a mobile, not hermit. Lola, what's going on? I like to fight fire with fire. What are you doing? Not this morning. For you, it's what, 10:30 at night over in Australia? Good night. Have a good day. Well, yeah, there you go. You have a wonderful evening as well, Lola. How late am I? I mean, you're not super late. I mean, I started at 8, like 30 minutes, but you can always go back and watch the beginning of the video, and I think that's really, this format is going to continue to evolve, and one of the things that's kind of been bugging me is I'm like, ooh, I need to get better lighting, or I need to have a better backdrop than just like hanging out in my guest bedroom or whatever. But, it's like baby steps, right? Like, I like the idea. I'm probably going to add some on-screen graphics, definitely going to put some background music on this at some point. I should probably hit up either Nintendo Direct or Studio Nintendo, and then Avedon, see if I could commission them to give me some background music to use for these streams, because they make incredible music, and it would certainly be brand appropriate because they do a lot of like video game remix type tracks. So I think I would rather have their music underneath this and like give them play in the description or with an on-screen graphic or something, and just just throw the Mega Man 2 theme on behind and be done with it. It's sort of like Pimp My Ride, except that they're only pimping it in most cases to the bare minimum, or they're just like people who have like a ton of money to play with, and they buy these crazy tricked out vans, and they're just like, I'm eschewing materialism, like I'm living my own life, but then they buy like a $140,000 Mercedes panel van to live their van life. I have people dislike their streams. Dislike streams a week. Yeah, see, if someone's disliking you in advance, like, I have to say, like, I have to admire that. Like, that is the most dedicated hater. If they're like, oh, I need to go schedule my dislikes today. Fabian's going to be streaming in about 3 hours. I should probably go ahead and drop that dislike now so I don't miss it. Like, good lord. Like, that's completely nuts to me. Living in a van, nope. I think I would like the idea of taking a trip on a van for like maybe like a week or 10 days, but persistent like months on end living in a van, being like, oh man, I have to go to get a gym membership just so I can get a shower or something. No, not for me. Be proud of dislikes. YouTube Rewind 2018 was so proud they made a world record of it. That's kind of funny. I know a lot of people were disappointed with the YouTube Rewind from 2018. Jairud, it's important to have a positivity around you, but the criticism or hate is important too. I would say criticism's important. Hate, well, I think I see what you're saying. Like, I would not say like, yeah, go hate on someone today, but I see what you're saying, and that like hate has its place in terms of you receiving it because it makes you more resilient, right? But I would not advocate for anybody and just be like, you know what's going to help your fellow creator? Go hate on them a whole bunch over on their channel today. Don't do that. Like, if you want to give them constructive feedback, that's fine. But most people, even if you're giving constructive criticism, they don't want to see that like that negative feedback in public forum in most cases. I mean, I'll take it however I can get it. If you guys all jump in here, you're like, this thing sucks, do better. I would take it into consideration, do my best to improve things. But even in, like, and it's weird because some people, and I hear this defense all the time, especially in the workplace, people will say something negative in public forum about somebody else, or they'll copy a boss on an email and just rip somebody a new one. And then they'll be like, well, I was just being honest. Yeah, but there's a way to be honest and temper the truth without humiliating or without slamming somebody. And usually that is by pulling them aside privately and saying, hey, I like what you did there, but you might want to change some things. Or have you considered this? There is a way you can deliver criticism that is not just, all sunshine and rainbows and happy, good feelings without being a dick about it. Stop putting me in timeout. I'm trying to chat. Sorry, I need to cool off. I don't know what you said to get put in timeout, but it might have been a mistake. That happens sometimes, Rip. I know you're a regular here, so no worries. I don't think I'll need to, as I know no matter where I start from, the video is always amazing. And that's an excellent perspective to have. Like, in measuring your videos, like, amazingness does not necessarily mean, like, oh, that the only standard by which it's amazing is how many views it got or how many thumbs up I got or anything like that. Like, if you're happy with the end result, like, if you put blood, sweat, and tears into making a great video and you enjoyed the process of making it, that's an automatic win. Because first off, you had the discipline to go ahead and make a video when a lot of people will just think about something and not execute on it. And then secondly, you were able to overcome feelings of self-doubt, fear, or just, I think for most creators, persistent dissatisfaction with what you make to do it anyways. And that's no small thing. I don't think people give enough weight to that. Be like Rax. Rax does not give an F. Yes, absolutely be like Rax. Also, thank you for tempering that for me trying to help keep the channel family friendly. I really appreciate it, Rax. But he's right. Like, not caring, I guess, is actually a really good skill to develop. Because if you tie everything about, just your self-worth as a person or your ability to put stuff out into what other people think exclusively, you're going to have a rough time. Because living your life according to other people's standards is completely debilitating. At the end of the day, if you're happy with you, that's what matters. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be ambitious or you shouldn't try to reach for more, you shouldn't try to improve yourself and just be, just perfectly content with not trying to make any forward motion. That's not what I'm saying. Like, don't get, what's the word I'm looking for? Stagnant. But, if you tried, then you have nothing to be upset about. Because most people won't even do that. It's nothing personal, just careful with the language. YouTube, as it is now, can punish Josh over that content. It sucks, but it's the current environment. That's true. And honestly, it's not so much that I'm like, oh, I want to be family friendly just because, I want to make sure I get that ad money. Like, I don't even make that much comparatively from ad money as I do the things that surround YouTube, like the shirts and whatnot. But ultimately, I try to be family friendly just because whoever finds this content, if you are, if you're 14 years old, if you're 80 years old, I want you to find something you can enjoy here. And I don't want, if you're a kid and your parents see you watching this video and they're just like, I'm not going to let you watch that. That dude sounds like he's got a lot of really foul language. I don't want to limit the ability of people to benefit from the content I put out just because, I felt the need to drop an F-bomb. Now, in my personal life, do I struggle with foul language? Absolutely. But, if I'm around friends and family, they just kind of know that's who I am. I just tone it down for YouTube because I don't want to limit the people who can see the video. That's my primary motivator, I should say. A bit of hate could be good for getting, use the online A bit of hate could be good for getting used to how online people can be, I suppose, though criticism would be better. Yes, I would agree. Criticism is better than hate. Dislikes, unsubs, who cares? Exactly. There's just so much that I could just ramble on about forever. But, like, when it comes to, like, people being like, ooh, what if I make this video and people unsubs? Fine. See you later. I'm sorry, but, like, life is short, and ultimately, again, and I've said this before, is, if somebody unfollows me on Twitter, if they unsubscribe to me on YouTube, I don't take that personally. And in fact, I'm happy for them that they did unsub for two reasons. One, looking at it from my personal perspective, I don't want people who are lukewarm on my content. I don't want you to subscribe to my channel and then never watch a video. If I'm not for you, go ahead and take off. And from their perspective, again, life is short. If they're not digging my content and they find something they love somewhere else, salute. Go have a wonderful time. I wish you the absolute best. Go find something that excites you, that gets you going in the mornings. I have to PM you something. By all means, hit me up on Twitter, man. If I didn't like the content, I wouldn't stay here to see it. Enough said. Right, and that's the thing. Like, I would not like. Some of you might be supportive, but you might be like, you know what, this isn't really the video I want to watch today, or this is a subject that doesn't appeal to my interest. If you don't drop in for one of my videos, no worries. I actually had somebody DM me on Twitter yesterday, and they were like, I'm sorry I didn't catch your live stream. And I'm like, dude, it was at 8 in the morning. Not a lot of people are necessarily up at 8 a.m. It's no problem whatsoever. And, just, I don't get bent out of shape if people don't watch every video I put out. It's just, people are busy, man. Like, I don't get to watch every video everybody puts out. And I know Rax and Avedon have both put out videos this week that I haven't checked out yet. And I'm not, I'm not losing sleep over it necessarily. Like, I mean, I feel bad about it, but I know that they're not just like, how come Josh didn't watch my video? I don't think dislikers even watch the I think in a lot of cases they don't. I take negative comments as a challenge. I've turned 3 trolls to my side that way. At first I thought you were saying soda. I was like, did you release a soda discard? I play games on hard modes. Yeah, I can't. I want to enjoy the game. I don't like to punish myself the way you do, Fabian. That's why when people are like, I want to watch somebody who plays hard games, I refer them to you, because I'm going to play baby mode just about every time, because I want the story, man. Except for games that don't really have a story. Like, I'm sure... So, Fabian, now that I think... I was playing Doom last night, and I hadn't fired up forever because I got it back from my buddy, and I think I'm like 3 levels from the end now. And I was playing it, and what's the lowest difficulty level called on that? Was it Don't Hurt Me Please or something like it? I found that's the difficulty that I was playing on, so I'm sure you'd be completely horrified by that. Mir says, I actually love a good hate comment on a video. Gives me a chance to flex my, again, in polite terms, smack talk. I'll do that all day. I love it. And that's the thing, like, I don't normally engage people who leave negative comments, like, in an adversarial way. Like, I'm not out to be like, I'm not stupid, you're stupid. Usually what I'll do is, I ask questions when people leave hateful comments. Not because, in at least a few cases, I've asked somebody like, hey, can you tell me more about how you feel? Or is there something that I could do to change the way you think about that? And at least not all the time, but sometimes you can actually establish a meaningful dialogue with somebody who hated what you were doing, or at least said they hated what you were doing, and then they become like a fan of what you do. And I think it's just, that desire to go the extra mile. Like, most people, if you see a negative comment, the first instinct is like, delete, block that person, get rid of them. But as long as it's not an obvious troll and someone's just like, they have a different position than mine, I absolutely want to know more about that. So I'll engage them in a dialogue in the comments for sure. Asia says, why am I awake at 5:30 a.m.? I have no idea why you're up this early, Asia, but I'm glad you're here. Thanks for stopping by, man. I take negative comments as a challenge. I've turned... Play games in hard mode. Oh, man, I'm having trouble keeping up here. Hold on. Disliked and unsubbed now. It's okay, Rax. I get it. Ubi Allen, how are you doing this morning? What brings you to this particular stream? Also, I hope you have a tremendous Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? Wednesday. Sorry. I blanked out for a second. I thought it was Thursday. Shaboinky Boink says, trolls aren't so bad. Maybe they're just living under the wrong bridge at the wrong time. A good realtor can be pretty useful, right? The Ubi man loves checking out everyone's content. Well, I hope you enjoy this content, Ubi, for sure. I turned them into soda. I didn't know you were an alchemist on the side, Disc. That's completely horrifying. The kid has 113 wins because he plays quads with people that help. I think I missed the first part of that conversation. Nightcore says, what matters is people who enjoy content that you're okay with. You're okay with it, and then everyone will get to what they can when they... Yes, exactly. Like, the people who know me may know that I don't drop in on every single video necessarily, but just because I don't have the time to do it, but when I can, I do. Doom baby mode? No, see, I knew you would not be particularly proud of me in that moment, and I'm so sorry, Fabian, but, I play those games because I want to, I want to feel like a badass, right? Like, I don't necessarily want to sit there and be like, oh, this same demon killed me, 14 times in a row. Like, I'm not looking for a stress fest, okay? I play games for enjoyment and to escape, the rigors of just daily pixel-pushing life, and to instead, I have a buddy who's, a real gun nut. He's like, hey, man, you want to go out shooting in the woods? We're going to go out and shoot stuff. And I was like, not really. Like, I've shotguns, and it's fine. But ultimately, I was just like, for me, I'll keep my gunplay virtual. Like, Halo's always going to be more satisfying for me than going to a shooting range or something. Fabian, I will drop Smack Talk all day. In comments, you can really think about what you want to say, but I'll do it to haters on games too. And when it's live, that is some fun. Fair enough. Nightcore says, did you see my comment a moment ago? Hold on. I think so, if that's the one you're referring to. For me, I don't. Oh, for me, I don't support any channel I know I won't watch or enjoy. Yeah, and I actually pruned the people I subscribe to just last week because I realized there were a ton of channels. It's like I interacted with them once or twice. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna check these people out, and I did, and then they went dormant. Right? That's a quick way to earn my unsub, and it's not like I'm doing it to be mean. I'm not doing it because I don't like you as a person. But if I subscribe to you and then you don't make a video for 6 months, there's no real reason for me to maintain that subscription, right? It makes it harder for me when I'm look through my subscriber list looking for the people who I explicitly want to check out to find what I'm looking for. So, no offense, but that's something that will cause me to unsubscribe. When someone corrects something I say in a comment, I just drop a pronunciation patrol and leave it. Yeah, these grammar police, man, they're in full force on YouTube. That kid came from an abusive home, and I helped him have a good time on his birthday. You really focused on a kid in Fortnite. Might wonder about what you focus on. Was he? What did Ripme take issue with you doing a Fortnite video? He may not have had the context of what you were doing with that video, Rex. John says, in my GoCube video, I used terminology that hardcore puzzle cubers didn't like, and they commented hard. I use those comments in my next video to make a point. Make the trolls work for you. Yes, absolutely. Why not? I mean, if they're going to say something hateful, make it useful. Like, when I got all those hateful comments on that PlayStation video I did a while back, one of the first things I did was make a follow-up video about, dealing with hate or how, that's actually kind of a badge of honor more than it is, some, damning indictment that you're not a good creator. And some of them were actually legitimately hilarious. Like, obviously it doesn't feel good to be the focus of them, but I have to admire the creativity in some cases. But yeah, that's crazy. And again, I think it just goes to show that if you got a group of hyper passionate people, they're not always going to be kind. Some people are very protective of their passion, whether that's hardcore puzzle cubers, which is the first time I think I've heard that terminology. I'm assuming it's not like Rubik's Cube people who do that, like do try to solve them like under a certain amount of time. Sorry about that. I had another machine not muted. Because I have seen that happen before. People who are just incredibly close to their source material, the thing they're super excited about, and they're very, very defensive about it. Because it's like, and I think it's because like your identity gets wrapped up in it, right? Like, for instance, like I would say that would be true of any of us who are on here on YouTube making content. If you were out somewhere with, if you met some friends at a bar or something, they brought in some new friend, and they were like, I think YouTubers are stupid. I think you'd naturally just like, kind of flare up on the inside and get very angry. I know I would. Well, I mean, because that's just sort of a dismissive, narrow-minded view of things. But, again, like the thing you're closest to is the thing you're going to most fiercely protect, and in a lot of cases, probably closely identify with. The Ubi Man is here because I had haters and trolls hating on the Ubi Man on my channel. This is a pretty hater-free zone for the most part, Ubi. Hopefully it remains that way, but as the channel continues to grow, now I want to listen to the Foo Fighters. As the channel continues to grow, I hope that will continue to be the case. I don't think I did. You can put it back in here though, and I can check it. I'm having trouble scrolling back and forth. Rip, this isn't the time or place. Just drop it. Hold on, Jakin, how are you? I don't know how I never acknowledged you. My bad, dude. Is this the first time you've met Jakin? Mitch says, I'm with Gamers on TV. I cannot play a game on easy or normal. Mostly, I need that ball busting challenge. Hey, like some people, they thrive on challenge, right? I'm just not one of them. Like, I want to see the story, and if I feel like, if my own ineptitude as a player prevents me from seeing it, I'm just like, nope, I'm switching to baby mode. Digitally flexes. Right you are. Cubers are Rubik-style puzzle hobbyists. KJ Del Rey, how are you doing? Thank you so much for swinging in. I appreciate you. How are you doing this Wednesday morning? First, let's see. First game I think about with hardcore puzzle cubing. I played Intelligent. That was on the original PlayStation, right? I think I had that. Either that or I'm thinking of VR missions, so I think the aesthetic was somewhat similar for that. No, it had to be Intelligent, because that was the one where it would roll towards you and crush you, right? Yeah, I think I have a Rubik's Cube. I don't think I've ever solved it. I know that mathematically there's a very basic formula to solving a Rubik's Cube, but I'm just lazy, man. I'm never going to solve that thing. If something that came up for me, I'd be like, that is your opinion. My opinion may differ. I hope that doesn't interfere with our chance of becoming friends. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I was talking to another friend yesterday, not a YouTuber at all, just a friend of mine through work, and we were talking about politics. Like, we have friends who have just radically different political views, right? First off, I'm not really into politics, period. But one of the things that I like is I have one friend who has, very particular worldview, not even really about politics, more more existential philosophy, I guess. And I don't agree with him, and he doesn't agree with my position on it. But that doesn't prevent us from being friends. And if he states something like just, in casual conversation, if it comes up with other people, I'm not just like, well, you're wrong, and here's why I think you're wrong. It's just like, hey, man, that's how you feel. That's great. Let's focus on the things we can enjoy together, like BW3s and playing Smash Bros. I'm doing pretty good, KJ. Got up, early this morning, played some Beat Saber, got ready for this, which I wasn't sure, how it was going to be translating a video I'd previously scripted into the live format, which is really the first 10 or 15 minutes of this video. But it seemed like it went pretty well, so, not a bad way to start. KJ Don't Ring, how's that cough? KJ, hello. No, Josh, I know Jake, and I just somehow did. Oh, you didn't think. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was about to say, like, I was pretty sure you guys had crossed paths before. When I was a kid, I rearranged the stickers on a Rubik's Cube and told my friends I solved it. That's awesome. I mean, technically, you did solve it, right? Through unconventional means. You were thinking outside the cube, that's all. They don't need to know how you solved it. I'm sorry I have to leave the stream because I need to cool off. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I don't have the full thing. I did miss some stuff earlier, but no, nobody hates you, Ripman. They may be concerned about some of the things that you're saying or how you're putting them out there, but trust me, nobody in the stream hates you. Shaboing Boy says, I'm glad Beat Saber is keeping their promise to do updates. Yeah, they seem to be rolling out a lot of new content on a regular basis, not just the paid packs, but also a fair amount of free songs that seem to be trickling in, so I'm happy about that. But, I'm a scrub who plays on PlayStation, right? If I was super into Beat Saber, what I should do is start playing it on the PC with the Oculus Rift so I can check out some of the custom songs. Nobody hates anybody here? Yes, absolutely true. How you doing, Rax? Hey, Hitman. It's Cured Rax. That's the one people who love Intelligent Cube really love the mechanics of it. Yeah, I haven't played it in 20 years. Oh, anytime I talk about a video game experience, I'm not like, oh yeah, 20 years ago I played Intelligent Cube. Like, I feel like I'm 100. Like, I'm about to start collecting Social Security right now. It's incredibly disconcerting to me. Rax says, except me, I hate everyone. That's not true. Rax is a big sweetie, and there's an entire thread about it on Twitter somewhere. Can you call it a thread on Twitter? About him being a big sweetie, and it had something to do with a kitten. I can't remember what it was, but it started some hashtag called Rax the Sweet. It was really tremendous. Regarding the comment you asked me to repeat, basically I said I have one gripe with you. Oh, okay. And that was that they have a YouTube Kids app. They could require family-friendly content, but they don't. I'm not overly familiar with it, so I can't speak to it intelligently, Nightcore, although I do remember hearing that some people out there were doing really horrific things with children's programs. They were making something that appeared to be children's program, and then they would slide something completely horrible for like a few frames in the middle of it. It was not too unlike Tyler Durden and Fight Club, which, yeah, it's fun to watch a fictional work like Fight Club and then see Tyler Durden do it in like this is anarchistic sort of worldview and everything, and just being a nihilist or whatever. But like to do it in real life to people, not fun. It's fun to admire an anti-hero within the context of his fictional world, but seriously, don't try to traumatize kids. That's completely disgusting. Except that Josh Kid who keeps yakking at me on screen, I kind of softcore hate him. It's cool. I can deal with softcore hate. It's fine, John. Josh, think about this. When we were playing SNES, some kids that have kids now weren't even born. Stop! Don't bring that noise in here. I'm trying to keep this a very positive space. I don't need to think about the fact that that I'm rapidly approaching middle age if I'm not already there. Oh, that's terrifying, Fabian. What is the SNES? Stop, Mayor! I don't... Wait, Mayor, aren't you like our age, or are you also in your 30s? Beer Ripper grabs chest and be like, taking damage. I can't do this right now. But, alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and have to end this now because I got the day job starting here in about 10 minutes. But thank you guys so much. I hope that you enjoyed the first 10 minutes of this where I kind of went through some ways of how to continue on YouTube if you're struggling with it. And it is a blast hanging out with you guys, just having conversations like this in the morning. I have a feeling that I'm going to get very addicted to this format, and that after this 90-day experiment is over, and for those of you that don't know, for the next 90 days, you're only getting live streams on this channel. This week, I'm only doing it in the mornings. In subsequent weeks, there's a good chance I'll be doing a morning and evening stream. Evening stream is just going to be video game fun, stuff I enjoy. Morning stream is going to be about getting to work, being productive, and making content on YouTube, because that's the kind of content that I like to put out, right? I want to encourage, inform, and inspire as many creators as possible to talk about video games. Actually, it's kind of selfish, just because I like watching content like that, so that's why I do it. It's about being selfish, people. No, not really. But, again, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your morning to watch. I hope I have been a helpful alarm this morning, Fabian. You guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Have an amazing day, and I'm sure I will see you guys on stream very, very soon. Take care. Bye.